Well, we're back. I'm Alexander Rubian with the New Jersey Second Amendment Society.
Daniel Francisco here.
Guys, another day in New Jersey, and our gun rights are slowly getting dwindled away. Yes, 2 bills did pass the legislature in New Jersey, but it's 2 more laws on our books that's going to do nothing more but degrade our Second Amendment right. There's, I think it was 6 that were proposed in the package, but 2 went through. Senate President Sweeney apparently is holding off on the others. Make no mistake, people. I know we're celebrating that only 2 bills went through. Make no mistake.
No, we failed. We failed.
Okay.
There are now 2 incremental laws that are taking away more privileges from us. It is not a victory. I'm sick of this discussion where we make this into at least we stopped some of the bills. At least we stopped 3 of them. We got only 2. We only got slapped twice. It's okay. Like every time a bill goes through, we lose. It's a defeat. All right. We've given up something to the enemy, and I'm tired of this. We've actually been yelling at each other angrily. Like I'm pissed about some things we were talking about off camera that I won't mention, but we're having a little bit of diverging opinion about some things, but I'm furious that this is what it's come to. I mentioned this in the last video when I spoke by myself. There's already a huge community of people that just want to talk about what happens. Everybody wants to talk. They just want to talk. Oh, let's go write a letter. Oh, let's go protest. Oh, let's go talk to this. We have to talk. Oh, then we go on Facebook. Oh, let's talk about this. Can you believe the Senate's meeting today? Oh, can you believe it got out of committee? Then it passes. Oh, 2 of them passed. Oh, good thing we called some people. And you know what? You know what the end result of all of that is? This. They still got 2 more laws through. They won. They have 2 more laws through and we don't. We don't have 2 more rights, 2 more privileges. We have 2 less privileges, 2 less rights. Our lives are incrementally worse than they were 24 hours ago. And of course, the governor's going to sign it. And we're lucky that Sweeney's at least pissing off the governor and stopped some of them.
Yeah.
Right? Oddly enough, our best friend isn't even ourselves. We're not helping ourselves, in my opinion. We're wasting our time with this bullshit. But hey, we're all so thrilled that, only 2 of them went through. Well, there you go. There's your protest right there. 2 more laws on the books. 30 years we've been doing this. And people, I'm reading comments. I'm seeing what people are writing. I always appreciate feedback. I don't care if you disagree with me. I want you to disagree with me, but I'm gonna talk back. The proof is in the pudding.
Yeah.
You think your tactics are correct? Here you go. There you go. 2 more laws on the books. Your tactics worked? Looks like they failed to me. And everybody, there's no way to paint this any other way. Now, there are worse things in the world than these 2 things, but the point is this is an incremental loss. I don't know how anyone can paint this as a victory. You should all be pissed. And to me, the reason you should be pissed is because we literally do the same thing over and over and over, and then we're shocked at the result, and we're all like crying that we live in this cesspool of a state, and we're the victims, and nobody cares, and you want to go talk to this community of people, this demographic that don't care about you. You are statistically insignificant to them, and you think that somehow you're cerebral, like you're mentally going to convince them of your viewpoint. I can't stress the demographics of this state. It's a losing argument. You're not going to win talking about guns. I'm not going to repeat all the stuff I said in the last video and the video before that because I've already covered that. But I'm furious, man. Like this is a waste of time. It's a waste of time. Where am I wrong on this? Two more things through. Every tactic that everyone's doing is failing. It didn't work, right? There's nothing to argue with. We failed. There's 2 more laws on the books.
And if you don't think that they're going to reverse back to the original smart gun bill, which they would mandate that every person buy only a smart gun. Here is the Trojan horse, right? This is exactly what they're going to do. The reason why the smart gun bill never worked was because no smart gun ever came into the market because nobody ever wanted it. So what Loretta Weinberg and the Democrats are doing is now they're forcing 400 dealers in New Jersey to go buy one of these so-called smart guns. Let's just call it dumb
No
guns.
one's going to buy it.
Yeah, nobody's going to buy it. So they can artificially create this market. And when they go and create this artificial market by forcing dealers and distributors to buy them, they're going to say, aha, look, it works. We've now created a market. And we've created a company that can supply these suppliers and these retailers. And then they're going to go back and turn around and say, now we're going to have to mandate every single person to buy it because we have a product that works and that's on the market.
A person to buy it.
No, they will. What the original 2002 bill says is that once these guns are in the market and they work,
the retailers have to buy
retailers,
it, not the consumer.
No, they said in the 2002 bill, every gun sold in New Jersey has to be a so-called smart gun. And that is the Trojan horse. That's what their goal is. This is why it's so important. I'm seeing the conversations. Well, only 2 went through. It's not that bad. At least this, at least that. This is why we always lose, right? And this isn't like a criticism about just people in general. This is a criticism about conservatives and about the people on the right. Imagine there was a left-wing issue that they lost 1 or 2 issues, right? They would be burning down people's cities because they lost 1 issue, right? And here we are being normal, civilized people that don't want to engage, don't want to confront the problem, don't want to make any changes, and then we celebrate losses, and that's the biggest problem.
Yeah, there's like I forget what it is. There's an animal that takes on like the young of other animals and then gets killed later on. Like I'm having a brain fart, so this analogy sucks, but like that's us. Like we're happy to get cucked like by other people, and then we're like, oh, what? Oh, we only did 2. Good job, guys. Good job. Your letter, but we lost. Like I don't know how people in any state of mind look at this and go, yeah, what we've been doing for the last 20 years is so good, we're going to keep doing it because it stops 3 bills from going through and only 2 go through. So let's just keep doing the same thing. It's the literal definition of insanity. Yeah. Let's just keep doing the same thing and see if something else happens this time.
That is death by 1,000 cuts, right? So now that we've proven and shown how ineffective sometimes certain things can be, let's talk about how we can make these changes. Let's talk about how we're going to move forward, right? Because I can promise you one thing. I was personally at the press conference with Governor Murphy yesterday, and what was he doing? He was calling out Senate President Sweeney. He was, right before he left, he goes, now, among a group of maybe 100 paid activists there, saying, I want all of you to go home and make sure all your friends and family call Senate President Sweeney's house and demand he put all of the gun bills up for a vote and stop playing these games because people are dying, blah, blah, blah. I have it all on video. I'm going to try to put out that story tomorrow, right? But we have to mobilize to make sure these things stop because there's a lot more worse bills out there that Senate President Sweeney could just flip on us. You remember, it wasn't, I think it was in March. A couple people did a great job pulling up the story for me. He was on 101.5 saying we have to stop picking on gun owners. We're always picking on gun owners. We have the toughest gun laws in the country. I think we have enough. And what happened? Right? What happened? Everybody hailed that as a victory. Let's back off. Let's do this. He's our friend. Oh wow, he's the voice of reason. Blah blah blah.
Don't you realize they just say things?
They just
to
say
placate
things.
Certain demographics within their voting block, like. He's just placating a very small community of people. Not us. It's the people on the other side that may be sympathetic to certain... It's just a game. Like, you can't... The problem that I think people don't understand about politics, and I'm experienced in politics, you have to understand that it's not an intellectual debate. Everybody thinks that politics are about... Let's have a discussion and come to a conclusion. Let's come to a compromise. Let's have this intellectual debate. It's not about right and left. It's about right and wrong, okay? These people will just say things to you because they're evil, all right? That is literally the definition of evil. They are willing to lie to you, to placate you, so you go away and then they stab you in the back. It does not matter. They don't
Case
care.
in point, proving exactly that. I was with Senate President Sweeney, I think it was in February, at one of his meetings. We're having a conversation. I'm with his chief of staff, and they just feed you and tell you whatever you want to hear.
I think if we lay out our points really carefully and talk to this representative who doesn't even know a damn thing about guns, doesn't understand them, has petrified them, thinks they're like automatic spraying machine guns because that's all they under. If I just have an intellectual conversation and show them the statistics, I think we could. You are so deluded that you don't understand the demographics of this state. This is the population, all right? Then left and right, maybe 40% is like on the right wing. And then of that 40%, like this much care about gun rights. Like, you don't understand what a minority we are. The tactics that minority groups have to use is guerrilla warfare. You can't go out onto the open field where their army of 5 million soldiers are and walk out with our 10 soldiers and start firing at them. We'll get killed. Like, they're going to slaughter us. It's a demographic nightmare. You have to, in the night, like in secret, go out and do a sneak attack and then run away into the woods. That's how you win. It's the conversation we covered in the other videos. You give them metaphorical black eyes from issues that have nothing to do about guns. You are not going to convince these people about Second Amendment issues through rhetoric. They don't also understand.
Remember, the budget's coming up in I think next week or something like that. And when I was at the press conference with Governor Murphy, he expressed many issues about if I don't get the budget that I want, I'm going to veto every single thing that comes through. And guess what?
It's a bargaining chip.
It's a bargaining chip.
He's going to turn. He's going to eventually do it.
Yeah,
we should do some of it.
We should be We should be attacking Sweeney's office. I'm not physically attacking, but going after him, calling him out. Why are the unions? I mean, how many members do we have that are union members that are part of NJ2AS? Why aren't you being vocal to Sweeney at his meetings?
I disagree. Like, he's the only one like protecting you right now. Leave him alone. Like, just go show that in Newark they don't give gun applications to black people. That's what I would do, because that's what they're doing. Yeah. If you talk to our supporters in Newark who are African American, Hispanic, they go into the police department and ask for an application, and they get told to come back another time. That needs to be on video. That's how we embarrass them, is showing they're just complete indiscretion and their wanton, abuse of people's rights. Stop engaging in this debate. We're not going to win. This is us. Like, you guys think that there's if we just get enough of our friends to talk. Yeah, we know dozens of people in this movement. There's 9 million people in this state. We don't matter. We're statistically insignificant. Our effectiveness is not in democracy. And if you think that, fine. I've already said before in other videos, there's plenty of great groups that you can go to that are engaging on that front. That's not my opinion. I don't know if that's, Alexander's opinion, but to me, that's smashing your head against the wall and thinking something's going to happen differently this time. I
miss all the sound, but
it's all right. The sound is fine. Dude, I'm sick and tired of the same shit. And people are whining about another bill. Well, what do you think? You just did the same stuff you've always done. Yeah, you called, you emailed, you went to Trenton, and you testified. And what happened? Oh, this happened. You got 2 more laws on the books. So we lost. What? How much longer are you going to do this? How much longer before you try something new? Right? Stop trying defense and try offense. Stop talking about guns. Start talking about discrimination. And that's not hyperbole. It's happening. We've documented it before. And that's our problem. Now, there's a silver lining here. We have a couple of people that have volunteered.
Yeah.
Because of these last couple of videos. I know there's a mixed reaction to my approach and the things we've been saying. But the silver lining is there are some people ready to go that we're training right now that are going to engage on this front. Yeah. And we're not just going to talk about, people have pointed out something that I actually agree with, the criticism. We shouldn't just be going around defending the status quo of, hey, I want my firearms ID card in 30 days, or I don't want extra forms being, put upon me, or extra restrictions. I agree we shouldn't just be doing that. That's in Jackson, we've done that, and we've done that in other places, and it's effective because I'm trying to prove the model that our tactics are effective. But I agree that's not all we should be doing. To me, the linchpin is carry, and we should be pushing that, and especially in our urban areas like Newark, like Hoboken, and Jersey City, and Patterson. Those are the places where we're going to win this fight, because those are the cities where the biggest abuse of Second Amendment rights happen, and it happens to the minority community more than anybody else in this state. It's not happening in the little suburban town where, the 5,000, person town where the police chief, the clerk, and they kind of get you your paperwork on time. A month and a half, 2 months, not so bad. The guy's nice to me, blah, blah, blah. No, you need to hear the testimony. You need to hear the stories from our supporters who go into precincts in Newark and literally get laughed at and told, come back next week at 2:00. Like, I'm not talking to you.
Yeah. We have it. We have the videos.
That's a crime, man. That's
Yeah.
insane.
Where we've sent women in to go and I want an application. Oh, you got to come back next week between the hours of 9 and 11, only on Monday mornings.
If you did that with literally anything else, if you did that with welfare, or you did that with, I don't know, Obamacare, and someone comes asking for something, and you know what? Don't worry about that. Come back another week. I just took a day off of work to come file this permit. Now you're going to tell me I have to take another day off to come and ask you permission to do something that the Constitution already enumerates for me? That is an open and shut win. When you start throwing that out into the public sphere, that these police departments are blatantly denying people from applying, from getting the paperwork because they showed up at the wrong hour of the day and because they're in the wrong neighborhood where that department just wantonly decides to do whatever they want. That's winning. That's when you'll start seeing pressure get put on them, and media pressure, and maybe legal pressure from certain groups.
And it's worked. I mean, how many times do we have to say this? In 2015, we waited, 6 or 7 months for Governor Christie at the time to react and to do something about the Carol Bound situation. And what happened? We went out, we started recording. It took us a couple months to get really good content. We put out our content showing the discrimination with government agents telling women they're too small to own a gun. He won't even give the application to them, telling women they're too old to own a gun, telling one handicapped person. And then the minute we had our press conference and we put this information out, in 3 days, Governor Christie put it together as commission, put together a report, and about 80% of the report was citing our videos talking about the discriminations and the violations going on. And because of that, the time frames went down significantly. People started following the law. People were getting additional forms no longer required when they applied. So these are the things that kind of work. But we need supporters to help out to get this content. And I want to thank the people that have ever reached out to me. We've done a great job vetting. We have 2 or 3 people that have been helping out. One guy even contacted me. We're working on some training. He has a very good understanding of New Jersey politics, some certain areas we're going to go into. And it's about documenting it because he's told me, when my mother went to get these forms, they needed to do this, they needed to do that, they needed to do a home inspection, blah, blah, blah. I said, did you record it? Well, no, I didn't know. I could do that.
I had a home inspection.
Yeah. Well, but the point was that
they literally had a detective come inside. I had to let him in my house, walk around, go upstairs to my wife's room, my kids' room, or our room, my kids' room, walk to the basement, walk around the perimeter of the house. What are you looking for? Like what? This is the type of stuff that goes on in New Jersey, and nobody cares. Look, here's evidence of
the point is. Offense. If you think that Sweeney for 1 second...
This is defense.
Yeah.
This is what defense gets you. It gets you incremental losses of your rights. If you want to play defense in an environment where we are the extreme minority, you're asking to lose. I don't know what analogy to make it to. It's like you want the New York Giants to play against the Manalapan, New Jersey under-8 Pee-wee team of football, and you just want to keep hitting them against each other, and you think the Pee-wee team is going to win. This is what that gets you. Defense. This is what it gets you. It's at our own peril. Nobody else's, because they don't care. They're winning right now. This is the mentality of people that some people here that I see the comments want to have a conversation with, right? They want to have a dialogue with these people. Our Attorney General has literally dictated the state police. I want to know how. I want to do an Oprah request on this and find out how much this cost. Okay.
Oh, yeah.
They've literally gone around for, I don't know. He's been in office. The governor's been in office for like a year and a half.
Yeah.
Right. So, Attorney General Gruhl, he's had state police officers online all day long buying magazines from, I don't know. It's an undisclosed number of websites. He literally spends their entire day, money. These people make 6 figures, have a pension, have health care. They probably, in aggregate, the people doing this nonsense probably cost us millions of dollars. Millions of dollars in a state where we're all strapped for cash with the highest property taxes in the country. And all they do all day long, is buy dozens of magazines from out-of-state distributors and FFLs, and then try to catch one of them, sending them a magazine that is high capacity, which in our nomenclature just means more than 10 rounds. They spend all day doing this, and they finally got one that, I guess broke this rule, and he's threatening to go after them with a civil case. It's a distributor in Las Vegas. I won't even mention their name because I don't want them to deal with any more problems than they already are getting from our state. And here's the best part. This is the government. These are the agents of the state that you people attacking me want to have a conversation with. Ready? This is who you're going to reason with. Gruel also wants the company. This is the company that they're going after for selling these magazines to undercover state troopers in New Jersey online. Gruel also wants the company to post a statement on its website telling shoppers that possession of high-capacity magazines is a fourth-degree crime in New Jersey. And he wants the company name to hand over 5 years' worth of information about which residents bought illegal magazines. So if you happened in the last 5 years to have bought something from this website, now you may have bought something that was illegal even before the law last year, right? That was over 15 rounds. You may have bought something that was legal at the time, that was exactly 15 rounds or 12 rounds or 13 rounds for some handguns. And now, if he wins this, the Attorney General is going to have in his hands your name, your address, what you bought, when you bought it, how large the magazine is. And if they choose to, stormtroopers could come down and arrest you anytime they want to.
And they will.
These are the people you want to have a dialogue with? Like, to me, that's insanity. They don't care about you. They don't want to have a dialogue with you. They wish death upon you. Carol Bown is dead right now because our laws empower the government to have complete apathy towards you. You are nothing to them. And you want to have a dialogue with these people. They only understand one thing: pressure, discomfort, and public humiliation. We're not going to win. They have all the guns. They have all the laws. They have an attorney general who's going to subpoena every retailer out there that's ever sold a New Jersey citizen anything. And you're going to sit here writing them letters. And guess what? Next year, they're going to put up 10 more bills. And they're not all going to go through, but 3 of them will. And next year, they're going to put 10 more bills. They're not all going to go through, but 4 of them will. And we're all going to sit here, hey, good job, you stopped, we stopped 7 of them. No. 3 more have gone through the door. How long are you guys going to keep doing the same nonsense and thinking that you're a success, that we're winning? We are absolutely, unequivocally losing the battle every single time. And nobody wants to go on offense. You just want to talk. Here's what we were getting into an argument about before we started this podcast. I didn't even want to do this today. I said in one of the previous podcasts, this is not a social club. We're not here to just react to what happens in the news and talk about it. There's plenty of people on Facebook and in the other groups in New Jersey already doing that. And there's nothing wrong with that. If that's what you want to do, that's fine. I'm not belittling those people. However, the mission statement of this group is offense, offense. We attack, we document, we expose, and then we filter it out to our entire community, and then we get lawyers involved if we need to. That's how you win, is putting them on defense. Discomfort. Again, I know that Jackson is a small example, but the second that there was an ounce of pressure, they caved immediately, and they're changing.
We brought light to it, and we did it the right way.
That's it. They don't want exposure. Yeah. You guys want to go through the democratic process. No, they're doing the dirty work and back here. You have to record it and put it out there so everyone sees it. That's what makes the madness stop. It's not dialoguing with them. They're not having a true intellectual debate with you. They're humoring you. And I'm not being a hypocrite. I've actually done the activism before. I've recorded people. I've recorded people in Jersey City. He's recorded countless people. He's done more videos than anyone else in this entire state and deserves a lot of credit for that, despite how much I'm yelling at him today. Yeah. But I've dialogued with these people. I won't mention who it was, but it was a state assembly person, okay? I've had that dialogue where I thought, I'm going to have this script where I'm going to say something to them and try to catch them admitting something stupid, right? They are so intellectually remedial they don't even understand what you're saying. And because they're politicians, when they don't understand what you're saying, think about it, they get crazy people in the door saying crazy things to them all the time. They go into an autopilot mode where they just placate you and say yes to you, whatever. And then they give you this, it's always something like, you know what? This is a great idea. I'm going to give you the number of my number 2 guy, and I want you to follow up with him so we can work together on this, and I want to get your ideas. Well, they realize this person's crazy, or this person is saying something I don't agree with, shoo them out the door and go away, and then I'll never talk to them ever again. That's what they do. They
exactly
don't care.
I'm going to put out a video probably in the next couple of days of a New Jersey legislator that on camera boasted and was telling me how the Second Amendment, there is no constitutional right to own a gun, right? Did I sit there and have a conversation with this guy and have an argument about whatever the case is and what? I'm not joking. He literally on video, while I was recording him, said there is no constitutional right to own a gun. And this is why it's a waste of time to have this conversation with these buffoons, because they don't care. The only thing they're going to react to is getting embarrassed, getting humiliated, getting the right pressure on the right places, and many other things that we could do. And that's what we're trying to form here and build, because I'm not going to waste your time, and we're not going to waste your time with ineffective means. There's nothing wrong with having other...
And that's just an opinion. That's my opinion. If that's coming out of his mouth, it's his opinion. It doesn't mean that you're a jerk if you go do that. That's just not what we think is effective. Okay? It's not fruitful. And you don't have to take my word for it. Look at the last 30 years of our history. Look at this. Like, forget everything I've said that I've been tirading for the last, how long has it been?
28 minutes.
28 minutes. Forget everything I've said. Look at this. If you didn't know what we've done, if you didn't know what the two-way movement had been doing, and all you saw was 2 new gun bills are on the books, soon to be law, you would say, oh, if there is a Second Amendment community, it's failing. Mm-hmm. That's what any logical person would think. That's the only objective way that you could look at it, right? You have to remove. That's the way you test effectiveness. It's like triage in an emergency room at a hospital, right? Like you try one thing, you see how the body reacts. It doesn't work. It does work. Reaction A happens. Reaction B happens. Okay, let's go to B. Now let's try this. Reaction C happens. Reaction D happens. If you strip out all of the things that the two-way movement does and you just look at the results, the answer is we fail. Like, we lost. It doesn't... So this whole debate about whether it's right or wrong, to me, you're insane for arguing that that stuff is correct. Because it doesn't work. It's right here. Who are you arguing with? Don't argue with me. Argue with this. We lost.
Yeah, and look at the imagery, and this is another factor. Not only the politicians, it's also the media. All 3 levels of government, including the media, have conspired against our rights. What's this picture? You think it's by accident? They show these, angry moms there looking all sad and depressed.
It's an emotional play.
It's an emotional play.
Those people are evil. They're using these women like they're dumb people. Like, I'm sorry, I'm just gonna say it. They're not intelligent people. They're being used as pawns, right? And think about it. They're not evil. They're just foolish. They don't know any better. The people using them are evil. They're evil people because they're just like, let's just use these little pawns for our image game. Let's put these sad moms here, and no one can argue with. I have a very smart friend named David. He's one of my best friends since I've been a little kid, and we've stayed in touch. He's a groomsman in my wedding. He's one of the smartest people I know, and he's probably going to listen to this, but he's always told me that the biggest mistake is that you give the enemy enough credit to imply that it is a dialogue or a true debate. They're just evil. They don't care. They are manipulating people and using emotion to drive their point home because they don't have a point. They just want to strip you of your rights and turn you into a victim. Why do you want to dialogue with these people? This is disgusting, right? You should be infuriated. These women don't know any better. They're just fools who want to be on camera. They think they're being effective in their own little mind, but they're frankly innocent. They're just not intelligent people. It's the people behind them, the politicians, who parade them around as victims because I'm a man, you're a man. Let's be honest, the demographics of this movement is mostly male. What are you going to say when this image is in front of you? If you say anything, you're a chauvinist pig, or you hate women, or you hate dying kids because the kids dying in shootings and stuff. That is all. It's a psyop, right? It's psychological warfare. You can't say anything because I'm not a victim class. They're a victim class. You can't say anything. She can say something. You want a dialogue with these people? Go right ahead. This is.
I want to actually emphasize something else. You know, we've gone to a lot of their meetings. We've spoken to these people either openly or undercover as well. It actually shocks me and surprises me how many of them boast that, well, we don't want it coming from the inner cities into our neighborhoods.
Don't want what coming?
The gun violence. And one of the individuals...
Yeah, let those minorities keep shooting each other and killing little babies and little kids through stray bullets. We don't care about that. Let's parade a bunch of white women, you know.
That sounds kind of racist to me, if you ask me, right?
This is what I'm saying. They don't care, all right? They don't care. Ask Loretta Weinberg or Sweeney or the governor, without cops, without state troopers, to go out on Martin Luther King Boulevard in Newark at 2 o'clock in the morning and hang out with you. They're never going to, right? They're not stupid. They're not going to do that. They walk around everywhere with protection. We don't. They literally don't care if you live or die. Don't ever forget what happened to Carol Bound. Yeah. That is the proof. They're not these benevolent souls. Government doesn't, they're agnostic to you. You are nothing to them. You're just a pawn. You're just a pawn to be used for their measures when necessary. Because you can't say anything against that. Men can't say anything against that. Because we're not a victim class. Gun people are the scum of the earth. You can't.
That's
you
exactly
have no
how
right
they
to speak.
Yeah, that's exactly how they portray us, and that's why they use these emotional arguments. They don't even believe that we have a constitutional right to own a firearm to protect ourselves, and even worse, they allow people to die that want to get a gun to protect themselves.
And you want
Carol
to talk to
Bound
them?
If Carol Bound was not the breaking point, then what is? Then what is? They all know the story. They all know people are dying. They know women are out there that are trying to protect themselves. And while they surround themselves with armed guards, they make all of us defenseless. They all know the benefits of a firearm because they surround themselves with it.
I've not known one politician in this state to sacrifice their security detail. Which one of them goes to a rally and doesn't have police officers following them around? When as a governor, ever, any party, it's not about left or right, when has any of them said, hey, you know what, state trooper detail, you could stay back. I'll just walk around in public by myself.
Yeah.
None of them. They're not stupid. Yeah, the thing is, all we have to do is Saul Alinsky 101. Make them live up to their own book of rules. If they're going to tell us that, you can't apply for a gun in Newark. Sorry, go away. Oh, yeah. Well, guess what? You hate black people. Because that's the truth. They don't care about you. But no, we want to sit here and write letters and, go
Case in point, go to
all
any
that
of these
nonsense.
meetings, even with the legislators, they never talk about the carnage. There's literally a modern day genocide going on in our inner cities in New Jersey. Hundreds of people die with all forms of violence.
One of my favorite things
and the only time they are outraged, right? These angry moms and all these legislators are ever outraged is when there's some kind of mass shooting in a white neighborhood.
Yeah, when what is it, 4 or more people or 3 or more?
Four,
people? Whatever.
It's 4, yeah.
Because that's a tragedy. But when 17 kids in a weekend get shot or in a month get shot in Newark, whatever, that's a statistic. It doesn't matter. One of my favorite things that they like to say is that whole how Interstate 95 is this iron
corridor, iron pipeline. Yeah,
it's so funny. So it is true that happens, right? Illegal firearms come from out of state, but it's so funny that it's like, why do the firearms have this magical, mystical power that they come from red states where they themselves don't get into communities to get used in the commission of crime, but they only come like a magnet, to New Jersey, to our urban centers, and then there's carnage there. They're almost like omniscient inanimate objects. Oh, these guns, they just it's like Lord of the Rings. Ooh, it just fucking floats. Excuse me. You can bleep that out. It just floats to New Jersey. It skips over all Virginia and South Carolina and Delaware, and it goes to Newark and Camden and Trenton and causes carnage. When do people realize it's not the gun, it's the community. It's what's happening in the community. Yeah. Oh no, we have to stop this flow of It's there. I can go to Pennsylvania and buy all of this nonsense. These bills, the bill about the magazines and the attorney general chasing down these purchases, illegal purchases online. You don't have to go to Las Vegas.
You can walk.
I can just walk over the river
Pennsylvania,
in Yardley, and like go to Cabela's in Pennsylvania, buy whatever the hell I want, and then come back to New Jersey. And the people do that. So when you see these articles where they're literally wasting what I would venture to say millions of dollars, because every state trooper costs hundreds of thousands of dollars per person. If they're sitting on a computer all day just buying magazines like monkeys, like on a computer, magazine from this guy, let's buy a magazine from that guy, let's buy 17 magazines from this guy in Florida, and then they go, yeah, we got one guy to sell us. Yeah, I can just do that next door over the Delaware River. I don't need to go on a website to do this. You should be furious that they're wasting this kind of our resources, our precious resources with this. And I'll say it again. These are the people you want to dialogue with. They don't care if you die. They don't care.
Now, I want to thank the people that have actually reached out to me to work with us on exposing and fighting back against these people, because that's really the critical part. We have a member, his name is Steven. Great guy, contacted me about training and getting involved with making videos, undercover videos with us, which is great because he comes from an area where there's serious and significant violations going on. So that's really important. And then I followed up a couple of days later, and I said, I need a camera guy. Can you help me out? He said, no problem. He drove 45 minutes over to my condo. I trained him on the camera. We went to the press conference yesterday with Governor Murphy. Helped out with the recording, and it really allowed us to be able to record and capture more, and this is why it's important, than I would have been able to do by myself. And the irony here was, as I'm asking questions to Governor Murphy, and I'm going to put that video out hopefully by tomorrow and that story out tomorrow, the Moms Demand Action people were literally there saying, he's fake news, he's fake news, he's fake news. And they went to the press director for Governor Murphy and said, you should kick that guy out. They all recognized me. Right. And they're like, you're that guy that writes those articles.
These are the people that you want to have a dialogue with.
No,
that you think you're going to convince. They're tyrants.
Yeah.
But
the point here, when your enemies are talking about you, which these people are, right, they don't want the truth to come out, right? So it's two things. First of all, they're watching us, they know of us, and they're talking about us, right? And when your enemies are talking about you, at least you know you're being effective right there. Secondly, they didn't even want us there. They don't even believe in the First Amendment right. They were calling me fake news. They were saying that I'm not a real journalist. They were saying that I shouldn't be there. They're literally tugging. I'm not joking. Unfortunately, we turned the camera too fast. But the woman's like tugging on Governor Murphy's arm, pointing out, and we finally turned the camera, and she's like, "He's fake news. You should kick him out. He has fake press credentials." Except for the fact that I worked with the New Jersey Press Association. They gave me all the rules I have to abide by.
It doesn't matter what you did.
But the fact is that now they don't want your voice. They don't want my voice. They don't want our voice being heard.
Stop trying to ration with these people.
Yeah, I'm not rationalizing with them, but we're documenting it. Right, that's the whole point. They would shut us down. Look what's happening with all the other conservatives. They're wiping these people off of all the social media platforms and so forth because they don't want the truth coming out. And you know what? Governor Murphy even said to me, he goes, "That's a great question. I think you should have so-and-so Attorney General get back to you."
Yeah, the guy who's busy going after online retailers.
So I went back to this Moms Demand Action
and
people.
Sharing everything you've ever bought from those retailers with the state. I wonder what they're going to do with that.
But the point is that they don't want us there. They know that by showing up to these press conferences, because these things are all orchestrated. They're all orchestrated. They have the pre questions, and now the fact that we're showing up and that we're legitimate media, and that the questions that these idiots are asking, it blows my mind that they're even journalists. Oh, Governor Murphy, please tell us again about how your proposed laws are going to be saving children's lives. Like, what? Are you an objective or are you a subjective journalist? What kind of person asks those kind of questions, right? And these are the people that are supposed to be putting out these articles. And look at the bullshit. Look at the BS they come out with. A bunch of sad-looking mothers. Oh, poor moms. They want moms know best. All they want to do is save children's lives. How dare you question them? How dare you show up to their meeting?
It's a victim card.
It's a victim card.
What this does effectively, it's a way of saying, shut the conversation down. There is no conversation because they're victims and you're not. I know we said that already, but don't forget, this is psychological warfare.
The goal
puts you in a place where you're the actual victim because in the literal sense, because in the metaphorical sense, they're the only victim and you're not. They have something you don't have. So you can't do what they do.
And that, if you look at how broad this fight is, right? They don't want me at these press conferences because we honestly report on these on these situations, right? They turn off their emails. They've told me. I'm just telling you, the legislators were bragging to me about how they created email rules to throw anything gun related into the trash.
Whenever you write a letter to them, they're like the little like $10 an hour like intern just writes a form letter back to you 3 months later saying, "Thank you for contacting us about and then it's like insert the little topic, Second Amendment issues. We're so glad you're so passionate, and we hope to keep the dialogue going. Thank you." Like, what did that do? Like,
and
it's just a formality.
There are legitimate times where you should probably be doing those things, but right now in New Jersey,
yes, when the demographics can be tipped,
exactly.
You're insane if you think we have the numbers and the capability to go around flipping dozens of seats in the legislature. It's not for a lack of passion. Here's the one thing we do have. We're very passionate.
We're
right?
very passionate.
Gun people are the nicest people in the world. They're the most generous. They're the most kind. They're intelligent. They're smart. They're passionate beyond belief. But guess what? They're not. They're not numerous. They're in this state. You are a minority. And it's not just them. Even the people that don't like guns but maybe sympathetic to political viewpoints of ours, they're not numerous either. We are the minority. When you are in Newark, New Jersey, or Hudson County, you don't get elected on a libertarian platform. It is a statistical impossibility. It won't happen. There's no amount of talking you can do with the people who live in Jersey City to convince them to vote for you. So you saying that, like, oh, if we just like reached out to more people, we just convince. It's how do you not have enough common sense?
Because you know what, and I think I believe our greatest strength is also our greatest weakness, and because the fact of the matter is that we're normal people, and case in point, the whole Kavanaugh hearing, right? What happened to Judge Kavanaugh? These people don't have any interest in talking and having an honest conversation. They wanted to destroy that man's life.
It was the same thing as this.
It's the same
they
exact
paraded
thing.
A woman who's a victim who lied about everything she said, made up things about doors, which they then found permits that said she never even built that door until sometime after she claimed that. I don't want to get too off topic, but like she claimed that she built a second door in her house because she was scared of getting raped. Right?
Okay.
Because after the incident happened, alleged incident, and then some forensic like journalist went and checked the permits that she applied for to like actually the variance to put this door in, and it was way after she claimed that she did it. Yeah. Whatever. So, one of the many lies that she
The point is that look how the left behaves. Look how the left acts. Right? We're not going to have an honest conversation with them because while we're talking about the Constitution, which I staunchly obviously agree with and I support, they're smearing you with, you want dead children. You don't care about the children. I'm a whatever. I know what's best, and that's why you should support us. If Carol Bound didn't change anything, right?
Their argument is a demographic.
Yeah.
That's the key point. Their argument is not an argument. Their argument is a demographic. How do you argue against a demographic? That's not an argument.
Yeah.
That's just them saying, "Hi, I'm a victim. You're wrong." And you engaging them like it's some civil discussion.
And going back, but our strength is that we're normal people. I would never do the things that the left does to any person that I agree with.
And that's why the things we're saying or I'm saying, I understand is difficult for some people to grasp.
Exactly.
People view it as mean. People view it as, oh, well, why do you have to go there? Why do you have to be mean? Why can't you just talk to people? Look, I get it.
Let me
give
you
that you don't want to go
example.
through that route. But unfortunately, sadly, that is the only way when we are getting trampled on as a minority in the state. You don't win in a democratic.
And it's a double standard. Look at the governor of Virginia with the KKK and whatever happened when he was doing in college, whatever the case is.
Right.
Look at the situation with one of the largest New Jersey gun control advocates, Brian Miller, using that racist poster of blackface to demonize gun owners and to demonize the idea of owning a gun. right? And then look how the left was like, oh, well, that's different, blah, 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 blah.
They don't care.
We went to
They
all
are
these
evil.
politicians and showed them these pictures showing this, this racism that they're using, that the left is using, back in the early 2000s to push forward for gun control, and they don't care. But could you imagine if a Republican acted that way or used those kind of things? It would be they would. I don't even know.
But that's why I don't even care about R and D or left and right.
Yeah.
It's just evil and righteousness. That's it. And if we want something, we agree that it is our right. I don't know how to frame it any other way other than if it's not working, you got to change your tactic. It's cut and dry. That's it. If the tactics are not working, you have to try a different one. And I'm not crazy because I'm suggesting to do things that are uncomfortable. I understand they're uncomfortable. I understand they're unorthodox. I understand that civil people are made to feel uncomfortable with these kind of conversations about race and discrimination. I get it. And you know why? Because you are sensible and righteous people.
Exactly.
Because we are good people.
Exactly.
And that's not how
we would never do those things.
That's not how we live our lives on a day-to-day basis. That's not how I live my life on a day-to-day basis.
When we launched that...
But if you want to be effective, that's what you have to do. Because that's what they're doing to us. And we're sitting here and taking it. You can't argue with the demographic. This is not an argument. This is not a discussion. This is just a demographic laid in front of you that's a victim class and telling you to shut up. When are you going to get it that you can't talk to this? And this is just evil.
And the reason why they hate us, the reason why they hate NJ2AS showing to the press conferences and recording and writing stories is because the New Jersey media has colluded with these people. They're literally, look at the language and the imagery that they're using in these stories. They are literally acting as the spokespeople for these anti-gun politicians, advocating for these things, commending these things. They're even demonizing Sweeney because he wasn't supporting all the bills and acting as spokespeople for these people. And you know what? Now that we've established ourselves, now that we have a good following, now that we have all the right equipment, which is also important, and it's all thanks to members and supporters and donors that entrusted us with that, and we're going to these, that allowed us to buy the proper equipment to go to these events so that we can be presented as professional media and so forth. They hate us. They're going and trying to get us kicked out of these press conferences that are government meetings that are open to the public, right? Because they don't want your voice, they don't want my voice, they don't want our voice being heard. They don't want our side being heard. I'm going to put it out. You're going to see the videos that we have of these women saying, "Oh, you're reporting fake news, you're saying these things."
You know how we actually combat this? It's simple. This is their argument, right? It's demographics. It's so simple. They have 20 women. We get 20 women who go into Newark police departments, who go into Jersey City, go into Hoboken, go into Patterson, and have women ask to apply for their carry
I was having
permit.
a conversation.
Ask to apply for the permit
let me give you
videotape it, and then record them saying no. Which happens. That's how you show how much they care about women.
Let me just for those on the fence.
Don't argue with them. Show them.
And let me clarify a couple things, right? If you cannot do those things, then support us and support NJ2AS that can do those things, right? Because there's a lot of time, there's a lot of money that goes into this, there's a lot of research. Our lawyers have to approve everything. Our lawyers have to make sure this and that, whatever. I hate this whole lawyer thing, right? But support the groups that can do those things. And case in point, it was about a year and a half ago, I was having a text message dialogue with a prominent New Jersey legislator. And of course, he was giving me that usual BS of, oh, well, this and that, da-da-da. And I was like, listen, where are you going to be tomorrow? And he said, well, why? I said, I have 20 women that want to talk to you about why you think these laws are going to be more effective when you're doing nothing but making more victims of women like Carol Bound. Where are you going to be tomorrow so that I can show up with all of our supporters and these women that are working with us on getting self-defense training? All of a sudden, the tune changed. Well, you don't have to do that. You know what? And he's gone against everything that he said, and his excuse has always been, oh, leadership, right?
Just don't ask him.
Just do it.
Just show up with
Just
20
show up.
women and with a camera and multiple cameras. Just show up at the police department and record the women asking for permits.
Exactly. And let us.
That's the argument against this.
Yeah.
That's the
Why do you
tactic
think they're
against
using these people are shills? They're what was the word you used before about these why they're using these moms, why they're using these women and stuff.
it's a victim class.
It's a victim class.
It's not an argument.
Right? But let's work together on properly training, properly motivating people, because a lot of people are very down right now over these things, and being effective civil rights activists.
We're down because we're not doing anything, and then we're sitting there and letting them pass more laws.
Yeah.
Then look, and look, going back to what we were saying before, we were arguing before we got on the air today because I actually said in the previous podcast, I don't want to do this to just talk.
Let me just
like,
right back. Keep on.
oh, well, like I said, I don't want to do this to just talk. That's not my role here. It's not my purpose. It's not what I want to do. It's not what I think is effective. I want to come on here when I have something happy to share about positive outcomes that we've had with activism. And if we're not doing that, then we're just doing what other people are doing on Facebook, which is this. This doesn't help this, right? It doesn't do anything. So honestly, man, if we're gonna have another podcast, I want to talk about an actual instance in which we had someone go in and record. I don't care if it's insignificant. I don't care if it's small.
Well, we can't talk about the behind the scenes
I
details.
want to enthuse our community and show that we are making progress, even if it's incremental, even if it's small. Because otherwise, we are just like everyone else out there on that internet, just doing this, and nothing is happening. So let's focus on
like
that.
I said, I mean, this is the problem. Our greatest strength is our biggest weakness. And the fact is that I don't want to be doing these things. Do you think that I enjoy having to use these tactics and play these dirty games?
Yeah, we don't have to update people on the news. Everyone has Google.
Yeah.
You can Google, hey, NJ.com or NJ gun laws and see the news. You don't need to hear it from me. I bring no value. I'm a nobody. He's just and he's a movement
average guy, yeah.
He's an average guy. We bring no value in you hearing what you already know about, right? Getting my hot take on what happened with Murphy's gun laws today. The only people that are narcissistic want to hear themselves regurgitate to you what we already can read online. We don't care about that. We need victories. We need to push the ball forward. We need to be capturing these people and embarrassing them. That's what pushes them back. That's what fights that argument of victimhood.
Yeah.
Because we can't win this with a dialogue.
Yeah,
it's
when
impossible.
when I've confronted many politicians in Trenton, they start running away because they don't want to be confronted. They're so accustomed to getting rewarded for advocating from certain things. And then once we start coming in and we start asking the right questions and being objective here and being effective, that's all of a sudden they don't want to talk. They're running away, and even recording them running away. Responding to another woman saying, "Why is your life more valuable, Mr. So-and-so? Why do you have armed guards?" It's real basic stuff, right? Because the mainstream media will never report that. They surround themselves with armed guards, and yet we all stand there saying like, "Oh, that's okay. No problem with that." But nobody's calling them out. You know how many politicians I know that have concealed carry permits? Oh, they love guns. Trust me, they love guns. And you know what? I think that might be one of our next forms of activism is calling them out, challenging them in court. Because in New Jersey, you have the right, an average citizen has the right to challenge a person's concealed carry permit and give good reason to be able to object to it and appeal it, right? That's the same laws that they supported. So why aren't we doing that? I had a gun range. I literally had a gun range owner reach out to me. The guy had a place like 10 years ago telling me all the politicians that had concealed carry permits back then. Some are retired, some are still active. But what's the commonality? They're all anti-gun. They always advocate for these certain things in public. So maybe we should call them out. Maybe we should.
If it's not recorded, it didn't happen.
If it's not recorded, it didn't happen. And that's why it's important that we're there in Trenton, that we're at these meetings, we're confronting these politicians. Wherever it is, I don't care. At their vacation homes, at their offices in Trenton, wherever they're, going for the weekend, we can find them and we'll confront them about it. And the more uncomfortable it becomes for them to talk about these things, and they're on defense, and we're the ones asking the questions and calling them out, the less that they're going to do about it.
All right, so let's move forward. I don't want to have another pundit episode like this. I don't want to have another. Let's talk about what's going on in New Jersey because that's not the value.
Yeah,
that
that's
I
not the
think we
value
bring.
here. Yeah.
Let's get on here again when we have a concrete video or something to share with our family out there that supports us and does everything to allow us to do what.
And I want to thank Steven for helping us out big time. That was instrumental. He was critical being at the press conference. You know, to give you an example, they were actually trying to block the camera. Luckily, he's a big, tall dude. All he did was pick the camera up and record over me having a conversation with Governor Murphy's staff. So that was instrumental. And we're also working with a couple other people on doing undercover videos, exposing the racism, exposing the sexism that goes on in New Jersey's permitting scheme and so forth. You know, and that's the kind of stuff that's going to make a difference, not only for activism, but also in lawsuits to show to the courts how discriminatory our system is.